Welcome to another edition of Pastor Kumuyi's Illustrations.
O ye of little faith is the reason for our needless fears. I need to talk about that because common experience so many people fear. What is fear? And look at Isaiah chapter 51. In Isaiah chapter 51, I'm reading to you from verse 12. Isaiah chapter 51. And we're looking at verse 12. Isaiah chapter 51. Looking at verse 12. Even I, am he that comforteth you. God will comfort you. Who art thou that thou shouldest be afraid of a man that shall die, and of the Son of Man, which shall be as grass that is there today and tomorrow is no more to be seen. Why are you afraid of them? You know what fear is? Fear is forgetting expressly affirmed revelation. Forgetting, for F, expressly, that's E, affirmed, that's A, revelation, that's R. Fear. Forgetting expressly affirmed revelation. Look at all the revelation that God gave unto Abraham. If you always remember those revelations, there will be no fear in your life, Abraham. Look at all the things that God told Jacob. I will be with you. In the place you are going, you will come back again, because the blessing of Abraham and Isaac, they are upon you. You know, Jacob, if you always remember those expressly affirmed revelations, you'll never be afraid. But it is when we forget expressly affirmed revelations, that's when we become afraid. And when we're afraid, then we become frustrated, and then we begin to worry and we get anxious. I will never leave you, I will never forsake you. It is when we forget that expressly affirmed revelation, that's why we become afraid. I'm with you to the end of the world. And then it says that no man shall be able to overcome you or destroy you, or will be able to hinder you in all the things I've made for you. It is when we forget that, then we become afraid. Fear means forgetting expressly affirmed revelation. I want you to look at Nehemiah. Nehemiah chapter 4, we're looking at verse 14. Nehemiah chapter 4, verse 14. It says, and I looked and rose up and said unto the nobles and to the rulers and to the rest of the people, be not afraid of them. Remember the Lord. That's all you need to do. If you remember the Lord, you'll not be afraid. The night has come. Remember the Lord. The Egyptians are coming. Remember the Lord. Nebuchadnezzar is teaching his fire 7 times over. Remember the Lord. And the Pharisees said, they're coming at you, they're coming for you. Remember the Lord. The landlord is threatening. He's going to pack my loads out before I come back from the fellowship. Remember the Lord. And then there is, what am I going to eat tomorrow? What am I going to eat? And this, remember the Lord. That's how to be free from worry and anxiety. When you just remember the Lord. That's the secret. In that verse 14, be ye not afraid of them. Remember the Lord, which is great and terrible, and fight for your brethren, your sons and your daughters and your wives and your houses. Now, if you think about a fear, it's there on your outline. Number 1, false experiences appearing real. False experiences appearing real. They're not real, but they appear to be real. And because of that, people get afraid. When you analyze the things you are afraid of, in fact, sometimes today now, if you will just sit back and you think about something that happened last year, and then you were so much afraid of that, you almost jumped into the river. When you think about it now that you know the whole detail, you laugh at yourself. How could I be afraid of that? There was nothing in that thing. Look at what I'm saying. 2 Kings chapter 7. In 2 Kings chapter 7, we're looking at it from verse 5. And they rose up in the twilight to go unto the camp of the Syrians. And when they were come to the uttermost part of the camp of Syria, behold, there was no man there. Behold, there was no man there. To start with, these were the 4 lepers. They said, why are we sitting down there? If we stay here, we die of hunger. If we go to the Syrians, those people are kind of, they're terrible people. They're warriors. They may kill us. Well, if they kill us, dying, we shall die. Not knowing that those people already, they have even run away. They were not even there. And here we are sitting down. We're imagining they will kill us. We're imagining they will hurt us. We're imagining those people are going to catch us. They're waiting for us. And the moment we appear like this, they just shoot us and we're gone. And the people we're afraid about, they themselves were afraid and they have run away. Many things we're afraid about never happen. They don't exist. It only exists in your mind, in your brain, in your imagination. And once you correct the thought and the imagination you have, everything is going to look at verse 6. For the Lord had made the host of Syrians to hear a noise of chariots. Made them to hear a noise of chariots, and a noise of horses, and the noise of a great host. And they said unto one another, Lo, the king of Israel has hired against us the kings of the Hittites and the kings of the Egyptians to come upon us. And there was nothing like that. You know, the Israelites themselves, they were afraid. In fact, when they told the king that there is food in the camp of the Syrians, let me tell you what the Syrians have done. They know that we're hungry, and therefore they have gone into a place they're hiding, so that if we come out looking for food, then they will catch us and capture us. Imagination on every side. The lepers had their imagination, made them afraid. The Syrians had their imaginations, made them afraid to run away. And the king of Israel had his own imagination, made him to stay and be besieged in hunger. Come out, there is no fear. I said there is no fear. The world, the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. This is my Father's territory. You are bottled in there, and you are locked in there. You are afraid to come out, and yet this is your Father's house. The whole world, anywhere you go in the world, the Lord will protect you. But because of that imagination, and because of that wrong thought, we just lock ourselves in, and we're afraid to come out. We're afraid to look eyeball to eyeball, face to face with human beings like ourselves. They will do nothing. Already the Lord has saved you. You will reign in life. And then he tells us in that chapter 7, and look at it in verse 7. It says, wherefore they arose and fled in the twilight, and left their tents and their horses and their asses, even the camp as it was, and they fled for their lives. There was nothing chasing them but they ran. You see, that is fear. Fear is false experience appearing real. And let me show you another one. In 2 Kings chapter 3. 2 Kings chapter 3, we're looking at verse 21. 2 Kings chapter 3 verse 21. And when all the Moabites heard that the kings were come up to fight against them, they gathered all that were able to put on armor, and upward, and stood in the border. And then it says, and they rose up early in the morning, and the sun shone upon the water. And the Moabites saw the water on the other side as red as blood. So what happened there is this: they gathered their army. They had all their weapons of war, and they were ready to fight and to shoot. And they said, let those Israelites come. We're going to take them on. All of a sudden, there was a river nearby. And the sun, you know, when the sun rises in the morning, it's not pure white. It has something like reddish yellow. And that sun, they shone on the water. The reflection to them looked like blood. And they saw blood. They said, what? All those people have died. We don't need to fight anymore. What they did then was to put down their armor, and they just wanted to go and inspect those people that had died because of the false imagination. The sun that shone on the water gave them an idea that now there is blood. False experiences appearing real. Many things happen like that in life. A reflection of the sun. A reflection of something that is just normal. And then you have a wrong interpretation. That wrong interpretation will get you worried and anxious. And then we're told in verse 24 and 23, and they said, this is blood. The kings are surely slain, and they have smitten one another. Now therefore Moab, go to the spoil. And then it says, and when they came to the camp of Israel, the Israelites rose up and smote the Moabites, so that they fled before them. But they went forward, smiting the Moabites, even in their country. What brought their destruction here? The imagination. Imagination. And what brings our destruction? What brings our worry and anxiety? Imagination. You see this, you make up your own mind, you make up your own conclusion. And then you see that reflection, you make up your own kind of conclusion. And you see that you worry yourself to death. You worry yourself and give yourself hypertension. And there's nothing in this thing you're talking about. In this reflection and the sun has always been rising. And the sun has always been shining on the river. And when you look at it, you always see the reflection. Why are you worried? Again, there is nothing to worry about. You will not worry. Fear is falsified evidence affecting reasoning. falsified evidence affecting reasoning. Once the evidence is falsified and you're not seeing correctly, it will affect the way you reason. Number 3 is frequent exaggerations altering reality. Frequent exaggeration that is altering, or that is altering the reality. You know, the children of Israel, they went to inspect the land of Canaan. And then as they went in there, then they saw the Anakims, they saw the Canaanites, and they came back, they said, if you see what we saw, you'll never think, you'll never dream of going to the land of Canaan. What did you see? I'm telling you, those people, the walls of their city, they are high to heaven. My friend, that's exaggeration. And then there are men there, giants there. Look at me. I was like a grasshopper in the front of his exaggeration. That brought fear to the whole of Israel. They said, what are we going to do? All these Anakims and giants are going to kill us. Fear came into their heart, because fear is the frequent exaggeration altering reality. Caleb said, but I was there. Joshua said, but I was there with you. I didn't look like a grasshopper. We can do it. Let us go up at once and we're going to overcome. You will overcome. Why are you hurting yourself, exaggerating a small thing, a little thing? Why are you exaggerating this thing? You're going to hurt yourself. Erase all the exaggerations you have and then move on. You're going to win the day. And then is the feeble enemies arousing restlessness. The feeble emotions that we have. And the feeble enemies, the children of Israel, they were not strong. They were weak at that time. You read the story yourself later. And then the Philistines were fighting against them. They said, okay, we know what we're going to do. They went to take the ark of the Lord. And when they came, they shouted. And these were feeble people. And then the Philistines said, hey, we're done. We're gone. Because of these Philistines. And just because the people shouted, and it exaggerates everything. All these problems are, what problem do you have? That you say, I can't go out, I can't do this, I can't do that. And stop all that, you're going to be victorious. And then let me just tell you about this. You know the story. What is fear? Fear is fears Egyptians approaching ruin. F-E-A-R. Fears Egyptians approaching ruin. The children of Israel had come out already of Egypt. And then the Pharaoh said, why did we allow those people to go? And so they said, and they got all their chariots and all their men of war. And they were just galloping and running after the children of Israel. Those people did not know that those fierce Egyptians are approaching their ruin. When the children of Israel looked up, they saw those fierce Egyptians. And then they said, what are we going to do? What are you afraid about? All those people, look at the river, look at them. The river will soon swallow them up. And many people don't understand that, because they see those fierce Egyptians coming, they say, we are gone, we are destroyed. These people are going to kill us. They will not shoot an arrow against your life. They will not touch your life. All these fierce Egyptians are approaching the ruin. And then God said, Moses, why are you crying unto me? What's that in your hand? He said, stretch it. And he stretched it. What happened? What happened? The Red Sea divided, and then he said, you can go on now. Then they went. When they got to the other side, the Egyptians, they thought they can make us afraid. They will not make you afraid. The Egyptians, when the Israelites were now on the other side, remember fierce Egyptians approaching ruin. Their ruin was in the middle of the sea. And they were looking at them. They keep on approaching. Fierce Egyptians. And they kept running and running and coming. When they got to the middle, God removed all the wheels of their chariots. And they said, we're in trouble. Our enemies are in trouble. And then God said, Moses, what are you doing with terror? Stretch it back again. He stretched it back, and the sea closed up on them. And then the children said, we're looking at one another. If you were there, you'll have had them. What are we afraid about? What are we afraid? Look at them. They are floating up. That's Pharaoh's son. That's Pharaoh's uncle. That's Pharaoh's cousin. They're all floating on the shore. In a few days, you'll find them all floating on the shore. There is nothing to worry about. You just relax. After the Bible study today, take a good meal, not too heavy, and then go to sleep. Tomorrow morning, the sunshine will come upon your life.
I hope you have been blessed by this edition of Pastor Kumuyi's illustrations. Please don't let this illustration die. Pass it on to others, and you could be of help to someone somewhere. Till we meet next week again for another edition of Pastor Kumuyi's Illustrations. Remain blessed.